Now, as far as, and he will also deal with the immigration issue. America is a nation of immigrants. We will stay a nation of immigrants. We love immigrants. That's not the problem. But having illegal aliens come in, particularly if we don't know whether they have a criminal background or not, is quite frankly stupid. The last time I checked in Luxembourg, we don't particularly want to go ahead and have criminals come here from other places either. And in Luxembourg, we don't particularly want illegal immigrants coming into Luxembourg. And in the rest of Europe, we're not necessarily sure we want illegal immigrants, and we certainly don't want criminals to come in either. So there's not a huge difference between, I think, what most Europeans want and what most Americans want. They are welcoming, just as we are welcoming of foreigners, but we want to make sure that we're safe, and we don't want to just give people unilaterally the rights to do anything. We want to make sure that we control it a bit. Mrs. Harris was appointed the border czar and never went to the border until a photo op when she was running for president. Then Mr. Biden tried to go ahead and after the Democrats lost the election, he tried to have a fire sale to sell the accumulated metal panels and things and the Republicans had to go to court to go ahead and get the court system to stop them from doing that. I mean, come on. We want to have a strong border, we want to have good relations with Canada, we want to have good relations with Mexico. Trump's negotiating style is sometimes he raises the temperature to get people's attention. But at the end of the day, that doesn't necessarily mean that he does things that are totally stupid. But he does raise the temperature to get people's attention and to have a discussion. And he likes to have a discussion from strength. Well, quite frankly, most of us would prefer to have discussions from strength if we could. So what he's doing is he's doing his thing, and he's creating a bit of a storm, and at the end of the day, I think, we'll wait and see, but I'm reasonably confident we will end up with sensible solutions that people agree with. But perhaps Americans' negotiating position has been improved a bit because he raised the ante a little bit by going ahead and doing that, because quite frankly, he can. And there also is the issue that what he's talking about are issues of fairness and equality and fair treatment. So, we have that. Now, as far as Luxembourg goes, from a Trump administration coming on in, I don't think we have anything to worry about so long as we don't do anything stupid. Let me explain. Every year, the Federation of American Chambers of Commerce in Europe does a bilateral study of transatlantic trade between America and Europe. They do it at a national level, they do it at a macro level, they do the whole thing. And they do it every year. There are 5 AmChams in Europe that pay for that study, which is done by a professor and a team at Johns Hopkins University every year. My AmCham in Luxembourg is one of the 5 AmChams that pays for that study every single year. And the reason for that is because trade is important for Luxembourg, and I wanted to make sure that we help by being part of the game and by being part of that story. If you look at that report, which we happen to have multiple copies of in the AmCham office, and we're happy to go ahead and share, you will find that, I think it's about page 180, there is a 1-page analysis of Luxembourg, and the 1-page analysis of Luxembourg says that there is, for all practical purposes, effective bilateral equality of trade between America and Europe in goods and services. You can come to the office, you can look at it, maybe we'll send it to you if you ask, but you know, it says that there is an equal and a fair balance of relationships between trade in manufactured goods and trades and services. We obviously do a little bit better in the trade and services than we do in manufacturing. Anyway, it's a good study to look at, but it's fair. It shows that the balance of investment between, and don't forget, ArcelorMittal is in the United States. Cargolux is in the United States. You know, there are lots of American companies that are in Luxembourg. We are I think, the fourth largest trading partner of Luxembourg, and we're the only one from outside of Europe, but we're the fourth largest trading partner. There is a massive American business investment in Luxembourg, and it's stable, and it's safe, and it's secure, and it provides 25,000 jobs every month. So there are 25,000 jobs in every month that come from American companies. Not bad in a country of this size. So there are good relations between, so the trade relationship is balanced, so we don't have to worry about being criticized in that regard. Luxembourg is getting stronger in tech. America is strong in tech. The Americans in tech are here in Luxembourg. Not bad. So we're partners. We work together on that. Not a problem. The biggest financial center on the planet is New York City, my hometown. The second biggest financial city or place on the planet is Luxembourg, which is my adopted second home. And there are a lot of American economic interests and financial companies that are involved in this trading relationship, and it's very strong. There is nothing that it would harm America if the Luxembourg financial sector had problems. It could potentially harm Luxembourg if there were problems in the American financial sector too. So we both benefit from that trading relationship. Mr. Trump and nobody else is going to jeopardize that because it's mutually beneficial for both sides. So I don't see that there are problems in that regard. We are partners in NATO. You know, we have multiple partnerships. Luxembourg is trying to get smaller and stronger in space, and Luxembourg has been invited by the United States to join the Artemis project to get stronger in space. So we have all these things where we're partnering together, we're working well together. I cannot think of any reason there should be a problem, and there's no reason to change American policy towards Luxembourg, and I frankly can't think of a good reason why Luxembourg should change its economic policies with regards to the United States. It's mutually beneficial, it works. So I think we're fine. I don't think we have anything that we're at risk for, and if there is some little glitch that comes up, I think that intelligent, sensible people can talk and can work it out. And when we get all done with this, if you want to talk to my friend Lou Gintner, who's the commercial officer from the American Embassy, I sort of think he'll say the same thing, but at least he can say something different if he wants, but I think we'll be in agreement on that. I think the relationship between America and Luxembourg is fine. There's only one area where there's a little bit of an issue, and that's that Luxembourg doesn't pay 2% of its GDP in support of NATO, which it had agreed to do, and which all the other NATO countries had agreed. Luxembourg is one of the countries that's not paying 2%. I think we need to do something about that, but let's get real. I don't think that we want to go ahead and suddenly buy a whole bunch of Abrams tanks and create a Luxembourgish tank corps. I remember a number of years ago, there was some conversation about Luxembourg going ahead and buying 3 Apache attack helicopters. And I had a chance to be involved in that conversation. And when the conversation took place, I said, you know, if you buy 3 Apache attack helicopters, one of them will be down for maintenance all the time. The other one probably is going to be needed for training. And that gives you 1 Apache attack helicopter that you can fly over the Grand Duke's birthday party. But it's not going to be a useful military fighting force to do anything. And 3 of them is not enough to develop a logistics tail that makes it sustainable in a wartime environment. So that's not a good place to go ahead and put your money. Put your money into dual-use stuff. We have SES. SES is brilliant at building satellites. NATO wants to have more military satellites. Great. Let's go ahead and have Luxembourg, as part of its spending of its 2%, go ahead and make an investment in NATO through SES, which creates jobs in Luxembourg and which helps. We're getting stronger in tech. NATO says that they need more cybersecurity. Great. Why don't we go ahead and say in Luxembourg, we're going to go ahead and create a cybersecurity school, and we're going to invite all of the NATO countries to send young, clever techies to come here to be in a cybersecurity school that we'll pay for, and we'll take that out of our 2% that we're supposed to go ahead and pay. And when we're done with all of that, maybe some of these other people who, not only will we provide the capability to support NATO, but we'll do it in Luxembourg, and we'll do it using tech stuff, and we'll do it with qualified tech people, and we need more tech cybersecurity people in Luxembourg anyway, and maybe when they finish their assignments, they'll have fallen in love with somebody and they'll want to go ahead and stay in this wonderful country. There are lots of things that we can do without going ahead and going out and buying 600,000 more machine guns and other things like that. But they will help business and the economic environment as well as other things. So there are things we can do, but I think that those things can be worked out. Let me take a quick look and see if there was anything I really was wanting to tell you that I forgot. Probably not at this time of the night, since the idea of having drinks and stuff is not a bad idea. Things will change as a result of the election of Donald Trump in the United States, but I view it as an opportunity for Luxembourg. And I view it as an opportunity for Luxembourg and America to further strengthen the enormously powerful relationship we have. By the way, in the 1830s, when there wasn't enough food to feed the people who lived in Luxembourg, and Luxembourg had a population of 300,000 people, 72,000 people migrated from Luxembourg to the Midwest of the United States, to Michigan and to Wisconsin, and bought farms and set themselves up. And now those people with Luxembourgish genetic heritage have grown to being over 2 million people. So I would say that there are more Americans of Luxembourgish genetic heritage living in America and loving Luxembourg, which they do because I went there this past summer, and they are celebrating Luxembourg all the time, and they have a wonderful cultural center and everything else. There are more people of Luxembourgish genetic heritage in the United States than there are living in Luxembourg today, by a significant amount. So, America is the best friend that Luxembourg has. It has been a loyal and a true friend for a long time, and it will continue to be a loyal and true friend for the future. We have a strong government, but it's built on balance. We have a new government coming in, which we all should help and support to make sure that they do the right thing, and that includes criticizing them if they screw something up. But let's remember, we are family, and we are a good family together for the benefit of all of us. Thank you.
Questions if you have? Please go ahead.
So first of all, I had a chance to live in your beautiful country for 2 years, the United States, and I've traveled more than 40 times, at least, to the United States. It's a country I really love. And I will not go into plenty of things that I would like to react on what you said, because I don't have exactly the same analysis. But there is one thing that you said that quite bit shocked me. You talked about respect. And I agree, respect is essential. Americans love to be respected, Europeans as well. Do you believe that what has been said while Mr. Trump is not yet president, just president-elect, regarding European countries, regarding also who is inviting to his inauguration? So he has invited far-right parties, Zemmour in France, which represent nothing. In Belgium, he has invited Vlaams Belang, which has never been in power, which has never exercised any responsibility, and I could name a few others as well. Do you think that this is respectful for our democracies, for our governments, and for our population?
Well, I'm sure all of your ambassadors, all of the European ambassadors are invited, and there are quite a number. Now, there are a lot of people who are going to be invited to the party. I do not have any visibility for that, so I'm not really qualified to answer. But I'm sure that everyone who certainly should be invited because they're a sitting ambassador, they're a national representative or something like that, I'm absolutely convinced that all of those are being invited. And as far as other people who are being invited, I'm not sure that I would agree with everybody who might be on the list, which I haven't seen. But we are trying to create a melting pot, and we have a melting pot, and maybe it's not such a bad thing if everybody's sitting at the table talking to each other. Now, I don't know. You know, I have no knowledge that there is a hidden agenda, and you know, I certainly don't believe that Mr. Trump or anybody else is trying to overthrow the other democracies that we have in Europe. I have no visibility of that, but I certainly don't think that that's the case, and I don't think that that's anything that would be supported by the Senate or by the lower house, the Congress. So I can't speak to that because I'm not qualified, but I can only say, you know, what's wrong with inviting a lot of people and trying to get them in a room and seeing what kind of compromises and what kind of deals we can make? I don't know. But I don't have the knowledge to be able to fully answer that. It's a good question. I'll maybe look into it a little bit more myself, and I'm sorry I can't give you a better answer than that.
I have a question related to the financial sector. We all know that Luxembourg is utterly relying on the financial sector, and Trump announced that there are many measures of deregulation. So to ease the regulation, which is very critical because we all have memories of 2008, and also the pigs, which was, in terms of respect, was something very interesting. So, get the regulation, but how to deal with it. Today, the head of SEC, Security Exchange Commission, resigned, allegedly before being fired by the Trump administration. So this is a very important topic, if you can give us some point of view from your side.
That's a tough one, because I think a little bit the answer is, I guess we're going to have to wait and see. But having said that, again, the transatlantic trading relationship that exists between Europe and America is the strongest trading relationship that has ever existed on the planet. It is extremely powerful and hugely beneficial to Europe and America. I don't think the business leaders in America and the people who are in the government want to screw that up. I just don't really think that they do. Now, having said that, the other thing is that quite frankly, I would imagine if we all were having drinks and we're talking about it, we would say, well, you know, Luxembourg's a bit over-regulated when it comes to the financial sector and government policies and things right now, too. It would be nice if we had less regulation, less control, and more freedom and lower costs associated with all this, all this kind of stuff in the financial sector and elsewhere in the economy. And that's the same thing that they're saying in the United States. They're saying, why do we have all this, does this regulatory stuff make us better, stronger, safer, or is it just extra layer of mindless bureaucracy? Mr. Musk is brilliant. I mean, he really is a genius, and you have to appreciate many of the things that he's done. But he's also not perfect. And he does have a big ego. And last time I checked, from what I understand, Mr. Trump has a fairly decent-sized ego as well. They're going to have to sort that stuff out. I hope for the good of the country and for the good of their nascent friendship that they have with each other, that they're successful getting that sorted on out. But at the end of the day, Mr. Trump is President of the United States, and Mr. Musk is an advisor who has no power and no legitimacy of position. My personal opinion is that Mr. Musk is not wise to meddle too much in European politics and should be careful about doing that. Because if he's not careful, he will jeopardize his relationship with Mr. Trump, as well as annoy and aggravate a bunch of people in Europe as well. But we will see. They are, in their own ways, very clever, very brilliant. They have tough characters, they have strong personalities. I think it would be enviable if at the end of the day they work things out so that they can work together for the common good and for the good of the constituencies that they represent. But we'll have to see. But let's hope for them.
Thank you. If we don't have any more questions, I suggest last question and then we'll move to the last part, which is the working dinner.
I can't answer a question about art. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
It's not about that. Good evening. Paul is joking because I am art advisor and gallerist. So my question is addressed actually to the ladies from Letzpact, which kindly invited us to this event. So unfortunately, I did not have the chance to talk to you at the beginning of the event. I would like to ask you to introduce you shortly. And my question is, how your public affairs community is going to contribute? Do you have any plan to develop Luxembourgish-American relations or to support American companies? How do you see your future impact on reinforcement of Luxembourgish-American relations? Thank you.
Well, thank you for the question. So, as I mentioned to begin with, so we are the Association of Public Affairs Professionals, and one of our mission is really to help companies who arrive in Luxembourg, irrespective of their origin, get to know how to navigate in the Luxembourgish landscape. And I know you do too, Paul. So we have a common goal here. You focus on US companies. We are more helping companies, regardless of their nationalities, really understand the Luxembourgish landscape, get to know the policy makers, and navigate this landscape. So, and we are very happy to welcome any of you if you want to join us. We have a great association. It's very, very vibrant. I would like to thank you, Paul. Paul and I, we go back 25 years, so it's a long friendship. So thank you for our friendships. Thank you for tonight. And I think we're going to move.
And by the way, I'm going to join Letzpact personally.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
I hope that doesn't run anybody off.
No, not at all. But thank you, and thank you for your support. And I would like to give you this. And so we're going to move to the last part of the evening, which is the walking dinner. And well, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you, everyone.